Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone. My name is KJ, and I'm the host of Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. And this is my spoiler review for Season 2 on the new Disney Plus series by Star Wars Andor, Season 2, Episode 9 spoiler review. So if you have not seen this, please pause this. But before you go, could you hit the thumbs up button on my YouTube channel? That would help that YouTube channel grow, get me more viewers. I truly appreciate that if you have. Come back and let me know what you think about Episode 9 in the comments below, and I would love to hear all your Star Wars theories and much more. So, again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off as the aftermath from the event that took place as we see Mom Martha decide to give her final speech, and many people were in panic on both sides, from the rebellion side to the evil empire. And of course, the evil empire wants to assassinate her before she even gives their speech. And that's why they even bugged her whole place where she's sleeping at to listen to what she may say. And then it's up to Cassins and others to help her escape from danger. But she wants to expose the evil Empire Palpatine, as she gave a very poetic political speech. And this episode, to me, like, two things that I got out of this scene when she did give the speech is, this is art imitating life. This is where, this is where Star Wars kind of gives you a life lesson, or you can learn you can make this out of a life lesson out of this, I should say. For one, we see that she's pretty much saying, like, when you're a kid, you believe monsters are underneath your bed, but the real monsters are just bad managers, bad bosses, toxic relationships, etc., etc. Anybody that's very negative to your life and mental health, right? And this was that type of speech to expose the Empire. And pretty much, like, Palpatine is like the wolf that's in the hen, and that's like, when the wolf's in the hen, all your chickens and roosters are in danger at this point, and little baby chicks and eggs. And that's what this kind of is like. Palpatine is in here. He's a wolf that disguised himself, and he played everybody all over the galaxy. And because he's a Sith Lord, of course, he had to. And, she gave this speech, and again, a lot of people were scared. And then some from the Empire, they sent somebody to shut off the whole broadcast, turn off the whole power. And to me, I wasn't quite sure if everybody in the galaxy heard the part when she name dropped the Empire Palpatine, or maybe they shut it off before she said it. But either or, she said what she said. It was a rah speech. And of course, they finally got her out. Caston got her safe. And at first, they took her back to the place where him and Bix were staying at, of course. Because obviously she doesn't want to leave, but she's got to leave because now she put a big target on her back. And she's one, like, the few councils from the Empire who stood up against this ridiculous evil plan that they're trying to achieve in. But, that's Star Wars, right? And, I thought that was pretty neat. Like, and then throughout this episode, we see the breakup between Cassin and Binks. And this pretty much showed us that, to do what they want to do, pretty much they want to dethrone the evil empire from their place. Because, when we saw this speech that she gave, Mom Martha, she was around people who are high in power in a political position, who can have strings pulled, who can dictate how things go and how the galaxy is supposed to be run, right? There's certain peoples that were chosen for this. There's certain groups of people who got to be in that. That's why we see Deidre is so obsessed, because she wants to be in that high position, power, political spot. And as we see that, we see Mom, she is literally wanting to change it to stop them now. But we also see with the breakup between Casson and Bix, and this is very important, and why this is important too, is because throughout this episode, she wanted to show that she can still help. She can still be a big part of this mission, this goal. And sometimes you got to sacrifice a lot. And she sacrificed everything pretty much now, because she gave up the one thing that it would break her heart, but also this is something that would break Casson's heart, but this is something he needed. So this helps him lose distraction, and he can focus on becoming the leader and the voice of the voiceless for this time. And she needed to go because she needs to prove that she's a part of this, and she needed to show that she has leadership, that she is not weak but strong. You may knock her down, you may get her shook, but she doesn't stop and she doesn't give up. She's had that in her mind for the longest since this season so far. And Casson, he just needed to realize that. And so these two events were very important, and the way they are connected together, this whole plot, is the change to have hope and the sacrifices they're willing to make for the good of the cause. And this is a hero story. This is not the villain story. The hero always knows when to keep fighting, but also knows when to lay down the sword. And these are the moments where you lay down the sword and you say what you got to say. This is where enough is enough. Violence is not the answer. War is not the answer. They have to show everybody, like, there's another way to do this. There's a better way. Or even a safer way, if there is in the Star Wars cinematic universe, of course. But that's the idea of what they're trying to present in this episode. And I thought that was really cool, because the dramatic music that was playing around, the intense who's going to get who first, can she make it to the speech? Is somebody out there to assassinate her in the council? Could she made it? Also, we're seeing growth and maturity through two young up-and-coming heroes in this Star Wars story that's been told over and over. And this is the beauty of it. But this is the rise of the rebellion. This is the rise of heroes and the next generation of heroes within the timeline order of the Star Wars cinematic universe. Because also at the end of this episode, we see a familiar face from the Star Wars film Rogue One, which is the droid name KS-20, or K-A-Y for short, as they like to call him through shows and the movies and comics and books. This hints in timeline order of the Star Wars universe that we're getting closer to the Rogue One film, which came in the year 2016. And it seems like we're getting closer. And obviously we're getting closer to the end of this season for season 2. And so the story is becoming not more familiar, but we're getting closer to the obvious things that the Star Wars fans already know about, and how this is going to end as a whole. But I thought this was beautiful. I thought this was really neat. Again, I love the intent. I love the dialogue was very, because this time the dialogue was more, had a little more excitement in it, had a little more ump to it. You know, it had more passion in it, like a real, two emotional, soft sides of giving hope, encouragement, heartbrokens, this is where you learn to have tough skin. This is where you heal, you grief over real quick, this type of battle. And this one, so the dialogue was really great. This was a really good episode for that particular reason, because this episode needed to be that after what happened in the last episode where the Empire set up that huge trap just to start assassinating, having stormtroopers shoot innocent people who protest. That's the whole idea of this thing. So it was very important for this episode to be the one that gives the hope, that gives the never give up speech type feeling. And the emotions in this was really good. So the dialogue had a little bit of excitement in it, and it really kept you paying attention word to word, action to action, emotion, face expressions was on point. Like, this was really good. And as a Star Wars fan, this episode was really good. It was awesome. I would say it's the best one so far out of Star Wars. And this story really makes you think, especially if you've been keeping up with Star Wars. Like, you just know what's coming next. You understand, like, this is what inspired Princess Leia. This one inspired Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, even, in a way. This is the idea of, like, the change for the heroes. But we're also seeing the change for the villains, the evil Empire, who's going to step it up a notch, get more villain-like as the rest gets more like a true hero, and it's going to get more and more brutal, but we'll see more of that sacrifice keep playing out. And it's going to take a lot for both sides. So it's going to be very interesting on the next 3 episodes for this series. So I definitely cannot wait. And one thing I like to point out too, for once, a few topics, Casson, I think I really like that. Again, I like the breakup. I think this, obviously, just, it's really cool to watch him, have doubt. And now, in a way, this breakup really made him, and maybe he's using it to, kind of like not focus on his feelings about her leaving him and leaving that message. But I think it helps, right? Because now we're seeing like the start of more maturity. We're seeing more an ambition person out of him than having doubt and wanting to leave and quit and go home somewhere, right? Like, that's the idea. And now to hear Palpatine's name, that's the next topic. I think that's really cool. This really, really connects and ties a lot of Star Wars films and shows that had him in there, and obviously mentions him as well. And that's a lot. We're talking from the classic Star Wars, the older ones, to the cartoon series of Star Wars, from Clone Wars and etc. Like, this ties in a lot. Just name dropping him ties in a lot. And obviously, he's the guy that everybody wants to get rid of. And so now, they're getting on his radar, which is not good, but they're getting prepared for it, because now he knows that they know that people are calling him out. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this takes place once he gets word of it, which he probably already has, because he's got people who is his eyes and ears more than most people know in his empire. So if you know how Palpatine works, you know how he works. He knows. Trust me. And it's going to be very interesting in that. So basically, I love that. And this episode was definitely a banger. So 1 out of 10, I'm definitely giving an 8. I mean, really good episode. I loved everything about it. Just as an episode individually, this was a really good dramatic show. And it made you want to pay attention. It made you want to know what they're going to say next. And, I think that was really cool. And in a way, the moments like this has happened in this episode, a lot of people could relate to that in some shape or form of it. So this one, I think people really did really like this the most more because of those reasons. So definitely like that. And that's it, y'all. That's my spoiler review. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment Official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace